Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the NBA Sunday night slate of games. There were four marquee matchups that garnered a lot of attention last night, and plus, we had an NBA brawl transpire in the Twin Cities versus the Detroit Pistons and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and plus, the Houston Rockets dominated the Phoenix Suns in the Valley of the Sun last night. I am going to unravel all of that right now. The first game I'm going to cover is the LA Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Cleveland Cavaliers won this game last night. Third time in franchise history that they have won 60 plus games in a season. So that is a tremendous congratulations for that team and their franchise. So now, the Clippers, in this case, the Clippers, the Clippers are eighth in the Western Conference right now. They are in the play-in tournament. They are a game out of that sixth spot in the West. So when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, excuse me, not Cleveland Cavaliers, LA Clippers, we see where basically everybody on the Clippers had a balanced game last night. They just lost the game in key stretches and key plays last night. Down in the final minutes, that's how they lost the game. So as you can see, Derek Jones Jr., 15 points, Ibaka Zubac, 14 points, James Harden, 24 points, Norman Powell, 34 points, Chris Dunn, 13 points. So that is the Clippers starting bench. And let me tell you, I'm gonna throw some stats out to y'all, and I want y'all to stay with me. But the Clippers starters, they have been excuse me, they have been one of the worst starting fives all season. And I was looking over the weekend, the Clippers, they are 18th as far as starting five. That's what they are, 18th. And not to mention, they have a struggling bench. Nicholas Batum, 1 point. Ben Simmons, 4 points. Boban Bogdanovic, 16 points. Amir Coffey, 1 point. And the other three players, Drew E. Banks, Patty Mills, Kobe Brown, they did not play because of coach's decision. Now, with the Clippers being in the eighth spot right now, the eighth spot, they would be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is if everything falls into place for the play-in tournament spot in the Western Conference. It would be the Clippers playing OKC, and it would be the Minnesota Timberwolves playing the Houston Rockets. But between 2 and 5, it only separates them by 5 games, and they only have in the NBA season they only have 7 more games left, 7 to 8 more games left in the regular season before we start to the playoffs. Now let me get to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, all throughout the season, they have been a fine-tuned scoring machine, and like I've said, we can pretty much just pencil them into the Eastern Conference because when you get a balanced scoring team like this, Evan Mobley, 22 points, Jared Allen, 25 points, Darius Garland, 19 points, Donovan Mitchell, 24 points, Max Strus, 3 points. Then bench production for the Cavaliers, Dean Wade, 5 points, Andre Hunter, 10 points, Isaiah Orko, 11 points, Sam Morrell, 11 points, Javante Green, Sam Morrell, 6 points, excuse me, Javante Green, 2 points, and the last four players did not play because of coach's decision. Now, let's look at the team statistics for this game. Team statistics for this game. The Clippers were 45 of 93, 48% from the floor. The Cavaliers were 50.5% from the floor, 47 of 93. Free throws. We get down to free throws. Cavaliers were better, 18 of 23. Clippers, 16 of 22. Total rebounds, +1 for the Cavaliers, 45-44. Offensive rebounds, 10 apiece. Defensive rebounds, +1 for the Cavaliers. Assists, +8 for the Cavaliers, 33-25. Steals, +5 in steals, 11-6. Blocks, +1 for the Clippers, 4-3. Total turnovers, Clippers. I said this last week, and it feels like that I'm going to be saying this again this week. In the playoffs, teams cannot win games when they turn the ball over 10 plus times. They can't. Now the Clippers, they had 14, and the Cavaliers, they had 10. So the Cavaliers, they last night, the Cavaliers, they did what they had to do. They didn't turn the ball over as much as the Clippers did, but coming down the stretch, you have got to minimize how many times you turn the ball over, because that could be the difference between winning a series and losing a series. And points off of turnovers, Clippers had 15 points and the Cavaliers had 11 points. Fast break points, +22 for the Cavaliers. I mean, fast break department, Cavaliers, they blew out the Clippers last night, and I'm surprised that they didn't win by more. Points in the paint, +20. Cavaliers had over 60 points in the paint, to be exact, 62. Fouls were the same, technical fouls were the same, flagrant fouls. The largest lead for both teams was 3 points for the Clippers, and for the Cavaliers, 18 points. So that is all I have for the Cavaliers and the Clippers game. The next game I am going to cover is the Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Atlanta Hawks right now are on that. Right now, they are hanging on to that seventh spot. Hanging on to that seventh spot, and they lead by a half game over the Orlando Magic. So these next basically 7 to 8 games are going to be the determining factor of who is going to play in the playoffs and who is going to make the play-in tournament. Now, for as far as the Atlanta Hawks, you had they pretty much didn't have they had their top gun, Trae Young. He had 19 points. Oniki Onganwu had 13 points. Zachary Rochester, 36 points. Muhammad Gwai, 9 points. Trae Young, 19 points. Dyson Daniels, 22 points. Bench production for the Hawks: Dominic Barlow, 8 points. Georges Nigang, 17 points. Carius LeVert, 19 points. Terrence Mann, 9 points. Vic Krekry, 3 points. And Jalen Johnson and Garrison Matthews did not play. Jalen Johnson is nursing a shoulder injury, and Garrison Matthews, he didn't play because of coach's decision. For the Atlanta Hawks, they have been one of those teams that they just do the bare minimum. That's all. Over the last 3 years, they've done the bare minimum, get to the playoffs, and then get knocked out in the first round. I don't see nothing different happening this year. I just don't. I don't see nothing happening this year. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, basically they are almost back. Milwaukee Bucks are almost back to a one-man wrecking crew with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Taurean Prince, 7 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31 points. Kyle Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma, 25 points. Brooke Lopez, 5 points. Ryan Rollins, 10 points. So those are the starters. And the starters they had a good game, but like I said, the playoffs, it comes up to what can your bench do. And the bench last night for the Milwaukee Bucks, outside of maybe two or three players, nothing else. Nothing else. And you can see Pete Nance, 0 points. Chris Livingston, 1 point. Tyler Smith, 0 points. Pat Covington, 6 points. Gary Trent Jr., 10 points. Jameer Bagua, 0 points. Kevin Porter Jr., 28 points. And Andre Jackson Jr., 19 points. I have been saying this I said this basically last year with the Milwaukee Bucks, that the Milwaukee Bucks would not make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And most of the Milwaukee Bucks fans thought I was crazy, thought I didn't know what was going on. And now you see over a year later, well, excuse me, exactly a year later, and we see what has been going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, and the signs have been there. The signs were there after they won the championship back in 21. The bench scoring has decreased from the bench. The starters outside of Giannis, the scoring has decreased from the other four starters. And now you get to a point where it's basically damned if you do and damned if you don't, because when it comes to the Milwaukee Bucks, they are not going to get very far. And as you can see right now, they are currently the sixth spot. They were at the sixth spot. They are at the sixth spot right now. So when you see the Milwaukee Bucks, they are not a team that's gonna go all the way. So Milwaukee Buck fans, I really am. I am surprised, and I am surprised and sorry about what is going on with the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So, Alexa, be quiet. So, one thing that I can say about the Milwaukee Bucks is this team is not going to go very far. They are going to have to start trading players. If you are the Milwaukee Bucks fans, you may not like the business aspect of the NBA, but this is where the business aspect of the NBA comes in at, because the Milwaukee Bucks roster, and I've already told you who is all on their roster. You are not going to get legitimate scoring from, I'm going to say, 50% of that roster. There's your starting five, and then there's maybe two or three players that comes off the bench and can give you consistent scoring every night. And the Milwaukee Bucks, they have not gotten that throughout the season. As far as team statistics concerned, last night the Hawks they made 17 threes, and basically when you look at that, that was almost a determining factor on how they won, because they won by 21 points. And you make seven threes in a quarter, that's 21 points right there. So rebounds, total rebounds, Atlanta plus 10, 46-36. Offensive rebounds, plus 9, 15-6. Atlanta. Offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, plus 1 for Atlanta, 31-30. Assist, plus 15. Atlanta 36, Milwaukee 21. Blocks tied for 2. Total turnovers 9 turnovers for the Atlanta Hawks. Milwaukee Bucks 14. Like I've been saying over the past week, and like I said during the last game, turnovers will beat you, and lack of turnovers, lack of defensive rebounding, and clock management, misuse of clock management will beat you. So the next game I'm going to cover is the brawl that we all saw last night between the Pistons and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Minnesota Timberwolves are at the seventh spot in the West right now. They are. And the Detroit Pistons are at the fifth spot in the East. With with everything that's going on, with about 7-8 games left, they should be able to hold these spots for the playoffs. They should be, but we all know that a lot of things can happen between now and then. When you look at the when you look at the Detroit Pistons, you can see that there's a team that is led by Cade, Cade Cunningham, but and now you see where Asur Thompson, he had 14 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 20 points. Jalen Duren, 13 points. Dennis Schroeder, 11 points. Malik Beasley, 27 points. That is the Pistons starting five right there. Now, the Detroit Pistons, are they going to be a team that can go very far in the playoffs? I don't think so. But with this new group that they have, I believe that they can gain some experience from this playoff entrance here that they are about to make. And what they will be doing, they'll be playing the Indiana Pacers. So if the playoffs start today, the Pistons would be playing the Pacers. And let me tell you, that is going to be an intriguing series if it sows to come out to that potential playoff first round series, Pacers Pistons. I would not mind seeing that. That is good old fashioned playoff positioning and play a playoff series from back in the day. That is exactly what it is. So back to the game that transpired last night. 5 players got ejected last night, and 2 coaches got ejected last night. So now the Pistons bench production pretty much awful last night. I'm going to go down a list, and after that I'm going to say what will the Pistons future as far as playoffs concerned, what it's going to be like. Simone Fecchion, 3 points. Lindy Waters III, 4 points. Paul Reed, 4 points. Roland Holland II, 4 points. Bobby Clintman, 0 points. Isaiah Stewart, 0 points. Marcus Sazzer, 3 points. Dennis Jenkins, 5 points. Tobias Harris has a right Achilles tendon, and he did not play. The Pistons. One thing we didn't expect much from them coming into the season. So just for them being in this position to get to the playoffs, it's an accomplishment in and of itself. Now, I believe the Pacers are the better team than the Pistons, but we all know that the Pistons, they can pretty much make a game look ugly, dicey, make it look deep. They basically play defense to a high level. And I'm thinking that if the Pistons do play the Pacers in the first round, that's the type of defensive series that we are going to have. And defensively, the series would go in favor of the Pistons. Indiana, their defense is terrible, one of the worst in the NBA. Now, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are at the 7th spot right now, but they are on the heels of the Golden State Warriors for the 6th spot. So a lot of movement is going to happen within the next week and a half. So the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, their scores: Julius Randle, 26 points; Jaden McDaniels, 2 points; Rudy Gobert, 19 points; Mike Conley, 17 points; Anthony Edwards, 25 points. Bench production for the Minnesota Timberwolves: Josh Minor, 5 points; Leonard Miller, 0 points; Luke Garza, 4 points; Naz Reid, 2 points; Dante DiVincenzo, another person that got ejected for that brawl, 6 points; Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 11 points; Jalen Clark, 6 points; Rob Dillingham, excuse me, Rob Dillingham, 0 points; Jesse Edwards and Joe Ingles, coach's decision, DNP. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, the last couple of years, they are still a young and up and coming team, but the last couple of years, they have been on the precipice of being in being well. Last year they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and I believe that Minnesota, they messed up last year, letting letting Luka go all crazy when it came to his, because he had a great shooting series against the series versus the Timberwolves. Now we see the Timberwolves, and I said this at the start of the season in my season preview show, that will the Minnesota Timberwolves even make it back to the Western Conference Finals? Maybe, maybe not. But as of right now, they are basically on the outside looking in as far as a having a solid playoff having a solid playoff spot, because teams 1 to 6, they have a firm playoff spot. Teams 7 through 10, they have to play 1 to 2 games in the play-in tournament to make it to the playoffs. So right now, Timberwolves, you between a rock and a hard place, and you can't lose too many games. If you lose maybe 1 or 2 games, that might be the season right there for you. So the Timberwolves, what they have to do is basically win out and then win the 2 games in the play-in tournament to make it to the playoffs. And the so that's all I have for the Detroit Pistons and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The next and final game I'm going to cover is the Houston Rockets. So I'm going to say over the last 2.5 weeks, the Rockets have caught fire and they are ready to launch. No pun intended, but that's just the wording. That's just the wording that I'm using right now. So the Houston Rockets: Amen Thompson, 12 points; Dylan Brooks, 8 points; Alperen Sengun, 16 points; Fred VanVleet, 13 points; Jalen Green, 33 points. Those are the Houston starters. The Houston starting five, they have a good they have balanced scoring, but one thing that's going to hurt them if they don't start using this to their advantage is the 3-point shot. And they are 25th in three-pointers made and 27th in three-pointers attempted, because they have so many players that can just get in the paint, pack it in the paint, and go to the basket and get fouled. They don't shoot too many threes. Rockets bench production. Jeff Green, 6 points. Jabari Smith Jr., 10 points. Cam Whitmore, 13 points. Jay Sean Tate, 3 points. Steven Adams, 6 points. Jock Landell, 11 points. Aaron Holiday, 11 points. Reed Shepard, 6 points. Terry Eason, he had a lower leg injury. Obviously, he did not play. The Phoenix Suns, I'm not going to bore y'all to death. Y'all know how I feel about the Phoenix Suns. We all know that they are just going to have to scrap this team up and pretty much build from the draft. And, well, excuse me, not the draft, but they are going to have to build this team back up in free agency. So, Kevin Durant, 11 points. Ryan Dunn, 2 points. Nick Richards, 6 points. Devin Booker, 28 points. Colin Gillespie, 3 points. Reese, the bench production for the Phoenix Suns. Reese O'Neal, 6 points. Cody Martin, 4 points. Mason Plumlee, 9 points. Bobo, 7 points. O.C. Angelo, 5 points. Monte Morris, 10 points. Tyus Jones, 5 points. Damian Lee, 6 points. Grayson Allen, 6 points. Vasily Mikic, 0 points. And the current standings for the Western Conference, you have the Houston Rockets in second place. And you have the Phoenix Suns on the outside looking in at 35 and 40. So, what I'm going to say about the Houston Rockets is Houston Rockets are one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Now, the Houston Rockets, they have a big game between the Lakers tonight. I'm going to be watching that game. And that is going to be a very intriguing game. Also, for the Phoenix Suns, they have 8 games left, and they are a game and a half out of the 10th spot. The Phoenix Suns, that this is pretty much their season is on the line now. You have 8 games remaining in the season, 7 or 8 games remaining, and the Phoenix Suns, in order for them to not just make it to the playoffs, but, well, not just to get a play-in tournament, but when they get a play-in tournament spot, they will have to either win 1 or 2 games. No, excuse me, they will have to win 2 games to even be solidified for a playoff spot, because the teams that win in the play-in tournament, whichever 2 teams out of the 4 that it is, they will play the top 2 teams in the conference. In this case, for the Western Conference would be OKC and the Rockets. For the Eastern Conference, it would be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. But let me tell you now, it's good to have uncertainty. What I mean by that is it's good to have extra excitement when it comes to the last 4 teams in both conferences, because for years we used to have these questions, and just after the day after the season where the 8th, 9th, and 10th team in the conference, they had great seasons, but they were not able to make it to the playoffs. So Adam Silver, this was a great idea, him coming up with the play-in tournament, and it has paid dividends over the last couple of years, because just last year we didn't know whether we were going to see Atlanta in the playoffs because they were in the play-in tournament. We didn't know if we were going to see Miami in the playoffs because of the play-in tournament. And the same thing for the New Orleans Pelicans last year. Obviously, the New Orleans Pelicans have been eliminated. So, what I can say is this: the next week, well, all throughout this week and next week, and yeah, basically all throughout this week and next week, the NBA standings, seedings are going to fluctuate. What I can say is that there are three teams in the Eastern Conference right now. The Cavaliers have clinched a playoff spot. The Boston Celtics have clinched a playoff spot. The New York Knicks have clinched a playoff spot. The Oklahoma City Thunder have clinched a playoff spot. The other teams in this case, the Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers, Memphis Grizzlies, and Golden State Warriors, they have a chance to clinch a playoff spot. But let me tell you, teams 2 through 6 in the Western Conference for the same as teams 4 through 6 in the Eastern Conference. They only separated by in the Eastern Conference, they are only separated by 3 games. So it is going to fluctuate. 2 through 6 in the Western Conference, they are separated by 6 games. It's going to fluctuate over the next week and a half. So, as with that, those are my reactions to the Sunday night slate of NBA games. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. I will also be doing March Madness coverage for the Final Four, which tips off later on this week. My Florida Gators are in the Final Four. Y'all bet not let us win the championship because I'm going to come in here with my Gators jersey on and Gators cap and say we got the trophy. And that'll be the third championship trophy for basketball in Florida Gators history. So we got a lot of things to unravel throughout this and throughout the entirety of this week. Plus, NBA playoffs are about to commence. So, one last thing I want to say is please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell on YouTube for Key Town Sports, and for Instagram, Key City Sports. We are doing an expansion on both shows. The expansion is going great, and we know that there are a lot of viewers out there that need better understanding when it comes to these rules in sports. And also this week, NFL owners annual meeting, they are going to talk about the proposal of the tush push, which I think that there is no problem with that. They're also going to talk about 15-yard penalties, roughing the passer, challenges. Maybe the coaches get more challenges. And also, for all of you that watch football and basketball, I'm talking to you. The Detroit Lions have proposed a rule that will go for the records, not as far as division winners, but go off of just strength of schedule and record play. Kind of like what the college football pro kind of like what the college football program conference does. Just going off of strength of schedule, how many wins did you get, how many quality wins did you get, and you'll be either the top number 1 seed or you'll be at the bottom, the 7th seed. So that's all that is happening this week in the world of sports. So when I hear updates as far as rules, I will inform you all. So hopefully the players association and the owners say no to some of these rules, because you're taking the fun out of it. I mean, the tush push is basically guaranteed to get you a first down in short yardage situations. So if they take that away, then you pretty much done messed up the Philadelphia Eagles playbook. So that's all I have. One last thing, remember the key is always on time.